I count slowly, slowly, slowly getting faster. Once I start counting, it's very hard to stop. Hey, faster, faster, it is so exciting. I could count forever, count until I drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I love counting whatever the amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, hey, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that's it.
Well, good morning, Possums. I am glad to be home in Florence, Alabama. I apologize for not getting an update out last week. It was a little inconvenient for me to do so. In any case, we'll make up for it by giving you a update that's twice as good as I normally do. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of movement, a lot of interdivisional play. At the moment, Mr. Bissell is sitting on top of the Spades division and really on top of all of us with a 4-1 record. On the Spades side, Aaron and I are both tied at 1 game back, although I do have the heads up against Aaron. Thank you very much this week. Over on the Diamonds division, we've got a dead heat with Brett and Eminem and Mr. Collins, all at 3-2. We've got some divisional team matchups coming up this week. Let me remind you that we did make a change per the Constitution. Previously, any record ties was broken by total points scored. This year, record ties will be based on head-to-heads if they're applicable. So with that being said, let's get into the secondary pool update. We will start, as always, with most total points. We have a new leader in your beloved commissioner based on performance over the last couple of weeks. I have got a total of 724. The next closest would be Brett, trailing behind me at about 46 points. And bring out your best. Everybody is still getting up for their games against Eminem. They've had 689 points scored against them, trailed closely by Barry, who is only 6 points behind in that unfortunate category. On the highest single weekly score, your beloved commissioner set a new high water mark last week in week 4 at 184.8. I will note, coincidentally, that is exactly the high score that Sean won last year with at 184.8. Sean scored that in week 8. It was my week 4. We will see if that holds out through the rest of the season. In our worst first round pick, Mr. Williams is still riding Mr. Bell with a goose egg. Sounds like there may be a little movement this week, or I think next week. Is it next week? Either week 6 or week 7, the Steelers go into a bye, and the rumors is that Bell may return then, but it's going to be a long road to hoe if Barry gets overtaken. Bell will certainly have to show out if he gets to come back and play the last half of the season. I will tell you that the best first-round pick continues to be Brett with his overall pick of Gurley at slot 1. Gurley is averaging 26 points a game so far this year. In the squeaker contest, we didn't have anybody that was close the last 2 weeks. All of the matches were resolved with a differential greater than 5 points. Last man standing early in week 4, Eminem, who put up a very respectable triple-digit number, was still the low man on the poll and was eliminated with 107.5. In week 5, Bob and Mac put up the low score of 99.2. That leaves Mr. Bessel, Mr. Jennings, Sean, and your beloved commissioner to proceed into week 6. Last man standing late starts in week 7. Most valuable player. So for week 4, that was your flex. Almost everyone, looking at you, Eminem, remembered to move your best applicable player into the flex slot. Although, as I think about it, that may have been your best applicable player since you had to play both your running backs. In any case, Mr. Kamara showed out for Sean in week 4 and set the high water mark for the flex. Week 5 was the tight end. And during the matchup this week, Mr. Jennings posted the highest tight end score. At the moment, Aaron leads most valuable player. He has currently a total positive point value of 27.2. Trailing close behind him is Bob and Mac with about 3.5 points behind. This week, it is your wide receiver 1. Let me clarify, I'm going to pick your best performing wide receiver. So you do not have to worry about having them in the number 1 slot. We learned a couple years ago, for those of you that might have forgotten, that even though you set your lineup a particular way, ESPN will sometimes change that lineup when it shows the results. Apparently, it prefers to order the wide receivers in their own arcane method. So in any case, it will be your highest performing wide receiver in the wide receiver role, not in the flex role, in your wide receiver role. In full participation, the beloved commissioner came within 1/10 of a point during week 4. I checked it multiple times to make sure there would not be a stack correction, but there was not. So we didn't quite make the threshold there. In week 5, the highest performer was also the beloved commissioner, but only at 4 points. Next week, as we go into week 6, please note that the full participation threshold has decreased. For week 6, it will be 6 points per player on your bench will claim the prize. In the pick streak, as I noted in the text message I sent y'all guys last week, Bob and Mac had a little stumble in week 4 and mistakenly selected a team they'd already picked. That defaulted them to the home team of the Monday night game. Barry and Bob picked the Chiefs and the Jags respectively, and they both won. For week 5, Barry and Bob picked the Saints and the Pats respectively, which both won. So Barry and Bob move on to week 6. As always, send me your picks before the kickoff of the game that you would like to select. Crust competition was awarded to Sean week 2. There was no movement in the Barry prize. So at this point, we've got only one secondary prize pool awarded. There is still a lot of money out there to play. That is your update for this week, Possums. Unless something odd happens, I'm sure we will get out on Sunday. And I will send a note out per normal Friday morning. Roll Tide.